next week, I want to go get my ears pierced.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Good idea. We'll do a picture of us doing it too.
Yeah.
What should I get? She's getting her seconds. I'm going to get my 27ths.
What did you say the terminology for like the stack? And I was like, oh, what do you consider stack? And
you're like, was like 2? I was like, 4, 5. What do you want to get? You want to get your seconds.
Yeah, I want to get my seconds. I want to go. Let's
seconds
start.
Will be nothing.
So are you saying just go with your thirds right away?
Oh, no. I'm saying like you could probably get your seconds and do like, if you wanted to do like a.
Oh, up there. Yeah. So go here and there.
Okay. So
that feels like a wide jump for me.
Okay.
Like I'm thinking I'm building up.
Okay. We'll go get your seconds. Okay.
Claire's?
No.
I was like, where do you go?
My parents were very like, no, you can't. Like,
so you're the opposite.
I didn't get my ears pierced until I was in 8th grade. And then maybe 6 months later, I got my seconds and my cartilage because I did it at my friend's mom's house.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Or
no,
she did it?
her friend's mom, my friend's mom had an ear piercing gun and did the gun and then the gun here, which you're not allowed to do anymore. It could shatter your ear if you do it with the gun like that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so
it turned out okay. Your ears
I was fine.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
But my kids are like, they put a hole in your ear. Are like, you crazy?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
valid.
that is,
But also like it doesn't hurt here. Like Hallie would do it, but Riley's like, no, why would you do that? Give me one good reason.
Why do you want me to go down this water slide? Give me one reason why I need to show you that I can go down.
She's like, you have to give me a reason for everything. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Gosh, our kids are so funny and they're so different.
So different. My gosh. Hallie's like, Daredevil, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Give me the ear piercing gun. I'll do it to Riley. We're so excited.
So pumped to have Brie Garcia on our show. It was funny. Like I did an appearance with her 5 years ago for the Women's World Cup. She came on our show and I was so pumped because she grew up playing competitive soccer and it was so fun. She like loved it. We had such a great show and a great time together. And what I remember from a while ago is she was just like such a badass, but so down to earth and fun and funny. So super pumped to chat with her.
And she's a mama of 2.
I know. And
similar ages to our kids too.
Yeah. Yep. And she's a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yep.
She is a philanthropist. She is a author. She is a entrepreneur. She's got her own everything. I know. I'm like, what doesn't she do? All right, let's welcome her on officially.
Welcome, Brie.
Yay! I love that intro. Thank you.
I mean, you do it all pretty much.
Gosh, yeah. I like to think I'm like, they say jack of all trades. I'm a Jill of all trades.
Jill of all trades. So, I love that. What's your favorite? What's your favorite of your businesses and ventures that you have like become involved with? What's your current favorite?
Oh, for sure, Bonita. I feel very much at home here in Napa Valley and in the wine business. I grew up in a farming family, so I feel like coming kind of back to my agriculture roots and being surrounded by farmers and winemakers and being a wine producer. It's like my one business where I feel like I'm really like thriving.
100%.
Awesome. And do you live right next to your sister? And have you guys always lived together in the same place?
Yeah, it's funny growing up, we always told ourselves we're not going to be those twins. And we're like, oh my gosh, we're those twins. Yeah. But we do. We just, through life, we have separated and then always find our way back to each other. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because she's actually a little mad at me because we are next, like pretty much right down the street from each other, just a couple houses away. And I just moved, but I moved 15 minutes away. But to her, that feels like a world away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I can't believe you moved. Like we had it perfect, but I needed a chicken coop. I needed a greenhouse. And I finally got that. But I'm like, you're literally 15 minutes from me. So we're still very close. We see each other all the time. So I feel like she's still next door.
Amazing.
I love that.
Okay, lightning round.
Yeah.
We ready for some we've been doing this with our guests.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to start our little
Is Brie ready? Is that's the question? You ready to go?
You know what? I will tell you I'm ready. Even though I had a crazy night's sleep because my daughter has a fever. I feel like it's like going around. And my son, he's just like he came in running in at like 3 a.m. He had a nightmare. And I'm Mom solo. Life. So yeah. So I'm like on my second cold brew.
I'm right there with you because my daughter's at the ER right now with my husband and we're juggling. She's okay. She's we leave tomorrow for LA. So like we're just making sure that she's good before we leave. And she's been having some stuff going on. So we're just going to make sure instead of like waiting till we get back, we're going to make sure. And so she's good, but
peace of mind.
I'm right there with you with the all night stuff and
all night.
Yep. We've got our coffees. We've got our energy drinks. We're good.
We're just trying to do it all. Yep. My husband just left for 5 days. We're just trying to survive, thrive, multitask, all the things,
all the things.
All right.
You first got question. One for her first? Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Favorite sport other than the sports that you've been involved with?
I mean, football. I'm obsessed with my Philadelphia Eagles, which, what can I say? We're looking good.
Our producer's mad at you right now.
I know. What is it? Giants fan over there, Cowboys fan. For me, I take it all the way back to my grandfather, who's like a father to me. And, he's passed. He's been gone for a while now. But I have such vivid memories of rooting on the Eagles with him. He was a full-blooded Italian from South Philadelphia. I had no choice but to love the Eagles. And so every time I watch football, I feel like I kind of like have his spirit there with me. I can feel him. And then, getting my kids, my daughter can care less about sports. It's really funny. But my son, I mean, he's 4, but he's actually sitting and watching, and he'll ask me some crazy questions and I don't really know the answer to all of them. But it's been like really fun to like sit there, and it's like our thing. And
love it.
How much I love soccer, because that was, soccer and pro wrestling, which we do sit and watch pro wrestling still. But those were both, my sports. Football is the one thing that I just feel like for the fam, it's my thing. I love it.
Yeah. Amazing.
What position were you when you played soccer?
I was center mid.
Nice.
So, and
more
my sister
attacking or more defensive? Were you the 6 or the 10?
So I felt like I
don't even know what that means.
I know you don't.
Sorry.
That's why I said it on purpose.
6 or the 10.
Yeah. So I was I felt like both. I mean, you could really put me at any, depending what girl was going to be in there with me. My sister, she was last line of defense. So she was sweeper. And then we went to
sweeper.
4. Yeah. So she just felt like she was queen of the field. But I was like, no, the queens are the center mids.
Yes, they are.
We're running our butts up that field, back. I am literally assisting every ball to our strikers, and I'm getting back and helping you if there's any breakaways. I just felt like, the center mids are the true queens, and we get no recognition for it.
Yep.
But that was my position. And, it's funny because to this day, I'm still a runner, love running, and my endurance, my cardio, everything is so great. And I believe it's because I was a center mid for so long.
Yep. Totally. The mileage of a center mid is like 10, and the mileage of a defender or forward is like 4, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a difference.
I love it. Yeah. My favorite question, your pregame meal when you did compete, and is it the same meal now that you have when you go
have a busy day?
Yeah. Or your TV appearances or your radio show or your podcast? Are you eating that same meal?
Yeah, it's crazy because my sister and I always say her because look at this is such a twin thing because we always did it together and still do it together because we're in everything together. But, I always had to go a little light, but always our go-to was chicken and rice. It sounds crazy, but it was always satisfying to us. We're really big dry heavers. It's actually funny because there was one of the pro wrestlers we used to travel with. She'd always call us the dry heave twins because like the smell of certain foods, or we'd eat certain foods and we just
makes you like
dry heave. Yeah. Still to this day, like I dry heave a lot, and I'm like, I should probably get it checked, but, so I need like bland food. And when I know I'm just going to, whether it was like go into the ring, onto the field, or now like, going into like a big media day or workouts, I need bland, but something that will be like, give me
Substance.
energy and feels healthy. Yeah, substance in there. And because obviously a lot of times I'll caffeine up, and we are always satisfied with just a little chicken and rice.
Makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
And no dry heaving. And I always have depending on time, a little hot sauce, put a little hot sauce.
Oh,
now
nice.
that feels interesting to me because that is spice. That is that feels more irritating my stomach. But all right, last lightning question. I want to know your walkout song.
So it's funny because wrestling, I have one, but and that can fire me up. My Brie mode wrestling entrance, there's something about it that can fire me up. But I have to say now, I love, and I don't listen to this style of music, but Eye of the Tiger by Katy Perry. I think that's the name of it, or Hear Me Roar.
Yeah.
That song does fire me up in a way of it makes me feel a little unstoppable, makes me feel I'm capable of anything. It just gives me this type of energy boost. And it's usually not music I listen to, but that one's one I'll definitely boom, let's get it, girl. You're not feeling it today, but that song will all of a sudden get me feeling it.
I love it.
Love that.
What's so funny is when people that seem a certain way, like country girl, music girl, and then they start throwing out T.I. or just hardcore rap. You're okay. All right.
Sure.
Wasn't
also, I don't think T.I. has come out with a song in
Listen, I still love me some T.I.
Yeah, I know you love T.I. I know you love T.I. I love T.I. too.
I like T.I. too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I'm having a couple drinks and someone puts on some T.I.,
I'll
be on that dance floor. But I'm such a Lumineers girl. I love country. I love Lumineers. Rock.
So good.
Yeah. So Ho Hey used to be my treadmill song, which people always was that amps you up, but it did.
That's so cute.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
Lycra.
Love Lycra.
You're supposed to go higher.
So
Lycra.
Oh, well, you can do that. I'm tone deaf. I shouldn't probably do that.
Okay, don't do that. Fine.
It's breathable. It's stretchable. It's high performing. It's the best material out there.
There's nothing worse than when you put on a pair of yoga pants and then they just don't go back to shape.
Happen when
it doesn't happen with Lycra.
Everyone wants to feel good, whether you're working in your office at home, whether you're running errands, whatever you're doing, you just want to feel good.
Yeah. And Lycra helps us do that.
Our show is Redefined. It means so much to us because we both and so many people out there have had redefining moments. And for me, my redefining moment was literally when I tore my ACL and tore all my ligaments in my ankle, and most of the doctors said I wouldn't play soccer again.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling I only can coach because that's the only thing I know, it's I actually now can do what I'm passionate about.
I have all these skills.
Yeah.
So Brie, what was your redefining moment?
This one kind of blends both career and motherhood. And it was in 2018. It was the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. And in WWE forever, the Royal Rumble used to always be about the men. So 30 men going into the ring, fighting for that one spot to go against, whoever had the championship at WrestleMania. So 2018, they finally started one for the women. And I was 8 months postpartum. I had my first child, Birdie, and I got the call. They're like, Brie, we want you to be in the Royal Rumble. And I'm thinking 8 months postpartum.
Wow.
That's time. To some people, they're like, well, 8 months is 8 months. But for me, my mindset wasn't in wrestling at the time. I had retired to have her. And I was still with the company doing ambassador work, but there's a new book now. Yeah. You have to get in shape, and not just in shape physically, but then I have to get in ring shape, and just so many things were going through my head. But I'm like, F it, yes, I'll do it. And then after the call, I was like, okay, let's figure this out. How are we gonna do it? And I'll never forget. So I brought my daughter with me because at the time my husband was still with the company, so he was on the show. And it happened to be that weekend she started to have one of her sleep regressions.
Of course she did.
Timing.
I was up all night and I was so concerned because we're in a hotel and I knew there was these wrestlers by us and I didn't want anyone to be awake. I probably breastfed the whole night.
Yeah, just keep her quiet.
Just right. And I'm such a people pleaser, so I always think about everyone else. So I'm just And I actually have this picture of my husband and I and her laying in bed, and we just look you could just tell we're so exhausted because I was like, I need to document this moment. And I was on probably maybe 2 hours of sleep, and we went out, and I had not only the most incredible time, but my reaction when I came out from the fans, like game over. It, like just that moment right there, I had never felt so empowered before. But the way I got in the ring, performed, the way the women, they were so supportive of me and, you know, where I was at in my life. And it was just this moment. I'll never forget it. And I took a moment in the ring to just like look around at the sold out stadium. And it was a really incredible moment. And that moment made me feel like, you know, I could do this. I can go back to the ring. I could still be a mama. I could do this. Like it's in me. And it did. And that triggered for me to end up making a comeback to WWE, just a short storyline, but still, you know, and I'll never forget that moment. It was a really surreal moment.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
We talk about, Arielle and I talk about a lot about after you become a mom, you feel like it's a superpower, really. Like you feel like you can go and do anything after that, right?
Right.
And that moment for you, did you have other women who have had babies that have come back into the rink, or were you the first one to do that?
No, there was another wrestler there, and she wasn't full time, and her name was Trish Stratus. You probably heard of her. But she was there. And so she was like giving me some really great tips. And I really looked up to her at the time because, you know, what's hard in pro wrestling is you got to be physically fit, but also like there's a part of your looks that matter. And like people will tell you nowadays, no, it doesn't. No, it does. It does. Like, and people also like expect when they hear my music, they expect Brie Bella to come out, who they saw like 2 years ago at that moment, you know,
you're a different person than you were 2 years ago. That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I still had 12 pounds of baby weight to lose. And that was the hard part is my whole costume had to change because I'm like, oh, I'm not showing my stomach. And because I was always in something little. So I went into like a full bodysuit type of thing. Everything about me was different. And I had to mentally get over that roadblock. And that was really hard. And especially too, I think people don't realize like, and I at least fall into this, like when I'm exhausted, it's very hard for me to make it to a workout. It's hard for me to even like sometimes be crazy healthy. Like I'll catch myself snacking a little bit just to have energy to keep going. So I was in it at that time. So there was like a lot going on in my mind of just like physically, I don't look what everyone will want. And like mentally, can I pull this off? So, but the fans' reaction told me everything that how I look and they were just happy for me to be there. And that made me feel so great. And it made me feel like, okay, like I can do this, you know?
Yeah. I think I remember being back in that world of up all night and thank goodness I'm past that point in my life right now. But I remember being in that moment and thinking how incredible, how much you can accomplish on such little sleep.
As athletes, like I remember being like, oh my God, I need 8 hours of sleep. If I don't have 8 hours of sleep, I'm not going to be able to perform.
Yeah.
And now last 8 years having 3 girls, like
you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Like
thank you.
Just do it.
Exactly. And you just go on and you continue to have as many balls in the court that we have and just do a great job. And that's why we are so good at multitasking and all other hats that we wear.
I agree. And I feel like too, the one thing I've always appreciated about athletes is that I feel like we kind of give women this type of confidence that, you know, you just do the best you can. At least I wanted to give that to women. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I have 12 pounds of baby weight still on, but I'm going to give myself grace. I just birthed a baby, hearing these stories from athletes, like when they get injured and how they come back and just everything they know so much about their bodies, and they give their bodies grace. And I feel like we have to, as moms, do the same because sometimes the pressure can be really bad.
Having your sister, your best friend, like you're doing it together. You're literally like pushing the boundaries and going to the limits together. And I think that probably helped you guys become who you are and become so incredible.
Oh, for sure. And I have to tell you, it's like to the mental part of it. I had someone I could trust and vent to, knowing she would never stab me in the back. And I feel like my sister and I were unstoppable because we had each other. And I wish more, and I see now the women have that. you could see the bonds, but we were so blessed at the time. I mean, we started wrestling before the social medias, before so many different things. And, you know, we were in a male dominated industry. So to have each other, that was just mentally so helpful. So I really do feel.
What was that like, Brie? Like, how did you guys survive and thrive in a male dominated industry where your appearance is sexualized, right? Like how did you guys thrive in that, really?
You know, I looked at it, I was able to take a step back and be like, okay, this is a job. But the one thing I noticed quickly is like, even though this is a job, what could we do to change? And I think my sister and I, coming from athletics, so being these soccer players and being able to keep up with the boys. And let's be honest, like as athletes, because we're always intermingling with the guys, we all get smart alecky with each other. You know, you get that thick skin. So we had already that mentality going in. So my feelings wouldn't get hurt if people said dumb comments. I always was able to kind of see through people. I feel like the way I was raised. And, you know, my sister and I were like, okay, so obviously this is what they want from women, but we can change that. Like we do have voices. And let me tell you, we heard no a lot until finally we heard yes. And I'll, you know, to this day, I will always thank Total Divas for becoming such a hit show, because that did open up the door for women's wrestling. You know, women were already doing incredible things at that time, but it opened it up in a way that it allowed more spots for women. It allowed us to be showcased, because really the men only were. And it gave us different opportunities that we all were really begging for. But, you know, it was hard. I'm not going to say it was easy, because it wasn't. There was a lot of times I went back to my hotel room and cried and thought, do I want to be a part of this? Like, is this what I want? Yeah. But I'm also like very competitive. And I knew, I'm like, they're not going to win. Like it would fire me up in a way, and I'd go back, and like, I knew how to stand up for myself. So, and having a twin, but yeah, it was, you know, nothing I'd want my daughter to go through. That is for sure. But
everything you want your daughter to be like, though.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because my sister and I will have those conversations. I'm like, I see how going through a lot of the hard things we did and dealing with the hate and so many other things, it molded us into strong women.
Yes. Exactly.
And it's what you want, for your daughters. But you're like, dang, why
do we have to go through that to be so tough? And we talked about this yesterday of the resilience, and you to build a resilient child, you put them through hard things, but the things that some of us have been through are so hard. You never want anybody to go through that.
No.
But they're going to have their own trials. They're going to have their own things that they go through. And you just hope that you can help guide them and navigate them through as you have with what you've done.
Yep. Has your son or daughter showed interest? And I mean, what would your reaction to be if
your daughter was like, I'm going to be a diva.
I'm going to be a mommy, an auntie.
Yeah. I mean, I would be honored just because, you know, she'd want to follow my footsteps. I mean, I'd definitely be a little like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
But my son, I think, is going to be the one. He's just a natural wrestler. The way he grabs an arm, the way he hooks, the way even he will maneuver from one leg to the other. I'm like, that's natural. Like, it's just the way his body moves. My daughter's extremely artistic and she hates sports. Yeah. Like I literally have to tell you the funniest story. So, we tried soccer camp this past summer. Ooh. And cause you know, she knows that I played it all growing up. So she was like, okay, I'm going to try. So drop her off. I come to pick her up and I just see her face. Like she just looks distraught. Like, oh my God. Oh, and I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, did something happen? Like, you know, I don't know. Was there a mean girl situation?
Yeah.
So I was like, I grabbed her. I'm like, you okay? And she's just looking at me with this red face. And we get to the car and she's like, I do not like soccer. They made me run.
Yeah,
I got pushed
that's
off
how I feel.
ball.
Tell her Auntie Arielle feels the same way.
No, tell her to give it another shot. All right.
I know. Well, I told her, I was like, listen, I signed you up for camp. you don't have to participate, but you have to at least be there, show up. And if you want to cheer on. So then they thought it'd be smart to put her in goalie. She did not realize that meant people kicking balls at her.
Listen, the whole goalie thing, you got to be for the faint of heart.
Yeah. That's not the stand around position. No.
Only special people want balls and people throwing themselves.
Only the crazy people get to go there. Yeah, for sure.
That is hilarious.
So, and I've tried, I'll be honest, I tried tennis with her. I've tried different sports, and she's like, Mom, I'm just not into sports. So I'm like, perfect. But she's incredible at art. And she's starting to play the piano. And that's where I see her thrive. I see her happy. I see her natural abilities. And I'm like, I would love to have that for her. So, I think that's her calling.
Yeah. Finding something that your child lights up at and enjoys and is passionate about,
working hard,
no matter what it is, whether I like it or don't like it. It's not my career. It's not it's yours.
Right.
Like you have to be the one to love it. So
I know,
like go for it.
Right. Yeah. And they'll thrive, which is all we want. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and exposing them to, like, I know I have to do a better job. Ricky, my husband, played pro soccer too. So we all of our kids play so many sports, but I'm not an artist. I didn't grow up much with music. So luckily I have other friends and aunties who are like, they need to come see the Nutcracker. Yeah. They need to go see a play. They, to expose them to other things. Yeah. Otherwise my girls are just going to be, they're signed up for sports. That's it.
Yep.
But I do want to prepare them because I hope my daughter, like I visualize, I'm like, maybe, when she graduates, she'll want to go to art school in Paris and then I can visit, even though that'd devastate me in some ways. But, I feel like my son, he's going to keep me on the fields. He loves sports. He thrives in them. And I'm like, but he's a big kid. And I'm like, I love football, but I'm like, I don't want people to be like, you should play football because you're a big kid. I'm like, that I get nervous about. I dealt with my husband with head injuries and I'm like, golf would be a great sport.
Life sport, life skill, totally. Right? Can do business on the golf course, a lot of things, right?
Yeah. And soccer too, I feel like is great. I mean, there's major injuries, but I feel like, not as crazy as like football with just head.
Yeah. I know.
Hey, when he's ready to play boys volleyball, a girl now.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I've got him covered. Yeah.
Well, I was his t-ball coach last season.
Oh, how was that?
Yeah. Oh, my sister and I. Oh. I won't be one this season. But
so it went awesome.
It was a great experience.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? I don't, the parents are great, but then like you get pressure and I'm like, this t-ball, like what's happening?
Yeah.
And it's a lot. I mean, and I think too, for my son, he can't have me be his coach. Like it's different. And I realized very quickly, like he needs someone he doesn't know because with me, he thought he could get away with stuff. And then like one time he threw a tantrum in the middle of the field and I was like,
you're like, no.
I think I'm like the coach and I'm like out there and I'm like, get up.
Like, get the
that's right now.
You're in trouble right now.
Yeah. But I feel like when I was growing up, I felt like kids who were parents were the coaches of their teams. Like they would be the ones who kind of like seemed more emotional or like kind of broke down easier.
Yeah.
And I was like, I quickly realized that I get it. Like for them, it feels like not a coach. It feels like mom is coaching my team and I'm still mom.
Yeah.
Like he can't see both sides of it. So, but it was cute. It was fun. My sister was like taking it way too serious. I'm like, Nicole, because she go, we just won, but they don't say it. And I'm like, we're not going to say wins and losses.
They don't keep track of score, right? Which is also so annoying, though.
We both are keeping track of the score on the sidelines. We've got our little game tracker thing going on.
Yeah, but she's the same. Like she will, and she's like, if you really think about it, like we won the championship. And I'm like, but we,
awesome. Please like calm down.
Calm down. T-ball.
And like everyone's getting a cupcake and a medal. We just like she was bothered. Like everyone got medals. Yeah. And I'm like, they're like 3 to 4 year olds.
That is a reality show in itself right there. It's just like youth sports, little kids and like the adults in it.
Yeah.
Like,
or how about just like snack duties now?
Oh my gosh.
Snack duties is out of control.
I feel like our kids are getting a gift basket every time they go to a game.
Yes.
It's like, what is the goodie bag? It's not a birthday party.
What happened to orange slices, watermelon slices?
That's it. Like you get your Capri Sun and go home. Like No, they get toys. Like it's like, what are the toys for?
Every mom feels like, oh shit, I got to up last week's. I got to make it better. And now I'm like, oh, great. I'm at the end of the season. What am I going to bring?
You know, it's funny because I think mom life's harder than anything I've ever done in my life. Like running a company, being on television, being a pro wrestler, whatever it may be. Mom life is for sure.
How are you juggling? Like, where's your time being spent with your podcast, your YouTube channel, your business, your mom of two, your wife? Yeah. Like where is your...
So, you know, my kids come first, even over my husband. No, I'm kidding. Family, you know, family's like number one. And then I just schedule everything out. So I always look at my kids' schedule because the one thing I told myself is like, I love having a career. I still love doing work on television, but my family, I won't have anyone raise my kids except me. Like I want to be their structure. I want to be where they rely on their stability. So my kids come first. I always look at their schedule. And let me tell you, I've said no to a lot of jobs and it's hurt my career, but you know, I love being a mom. And so that goes. And then, you know, my podcast is that and Bonita, they're my top two. Yeah. So I always work out my schedule. And, you know, it's nice because I have a great team that really helps in how we build out our schedules. And I know, you know, a lot of the time I have to give to Bonita. Bonita is more on the weekends during the week podcast. So it becomes a lot. And at night at 8 p.m., I'm always like, should I watch a show, read, or just go to bed? And a lot of times I just crash.
Yeah. Good for you.
Crash. Yeah. So, you know, I will say this. I have been able to do it, but I've sacrificed a lot of things, but well worth it to be with my kids.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's the best job. It's the best hat we wear. Yeah.
It honestly is. And I do believe when they say it goes fast, I don't know that feeling yet, but when they say it goes fast, I do believe it. I do know before I know it, they're going to be out of my house.
So Brie, my girls are really close in age too. So they'll be a senior, junior, freshman. And
that's going to be wild.
Wild. I'm like, babe, I know. Good. Girls, good luck. But babe, good luck.
I know.
Bringing home partners, all that.
My gosh. I don't.
Well, and that's the hard thing, right? It's like, well, and I think too, when they're all on their cycle, that's what I can't imagine. Do you know what I mean?
Seriously.
Because that's like, where I just think of my sister and I being twins. And obviously we shared a room. So we were very in sync. Yeah. And my poor mother knew. And, you know, we started middle school and my mom was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot. She was like, middle school, she said, was the hardest years.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Those hormones.
7th, 8th grade.
Yeah. Mean girls.
High school, mean girl. Well, my daughter's already dealing with some of that. And it's wild to me. Damn. And to have to help her navigate. And I'll be honest, there are times I have to walk away and give myself a couple minutes to say, what do I want to say right now? Because whatever I say will change everything for her. And sometimes I get put on the spot and I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Before I forget, how has it been going from the Bella Twins and your identity for so long in your career to now going back to the Garcia Twins? And why did you two make that decision?
You know, it was really hard, but one, you know, and it's crazy, but WWE owns the Bella Twins. So even though you feel like you're the Bella Twins because at WWE for so long, our characters, you know, there was a thing we wanted everyone to believe them. This was before they kind of pulled back the curtain to let you see behind the curtain of like the characters and what's real and fake and all of that. But, you know, we were the Bella Twins on the reality shows. So you really started to just feel that's who you are. So when we made the decision to leave WWE, we knew the name couldn't come with us. And that was hard at first. But then, you know, my sister and I were like, but we were always the Garcia Twins before wrestling. When we were on the soccer field, everyone would be like, oh, those Garcia Twins or anything we did. So for us, it felt very much going back to our roots. And we actually were excited because for so long, you know, when we were known as the Garcia Twins, and then went to the Bellas, that transformation was weird. We were like, this is weird. We're the Bella Twins all of a sudden. And then I'll be honest. I had to work with my life coach a little bit to like understand it and just be like, I put so much equity behind that name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for it to just go, like, so many things go with that. But then I was like, I let go of it knowing I was walking into like full freedom. Definitely took a little bit to get used to.
Yeah.
But, and it was hard at first, but I have to say it's been really great.
I think that I had that similar feeling when I got married.
And you changed your name?
And I changed my name. Like on a small scale of that, like I had this, it's that identity shift of like, all of a sudden you're looking at like who you are on paper and you're like, wait, I don't know who that person is. Yeah. Or when you become a mom and like, that is just this new little identity shift. Yeah. New redefining moment. Ooh. I know my branding is so good. But like, it's such a interesting thing when that name change. I was like, who is Arielle Houlihan? I don't even know who that is. Yeah. I've been Arielle Goldberg my entire life. Like I have to figure out who that person is. Yeah. And it's such it's sometimes a great thing because you can redefine where you're at in your life and become something new, but it's also a really scary feeling of like, I don't know who I am. That's a weird place to be in.
I'm thinking when I retired and got married and my soccer name was Osborne and everyone knew me as Osborne. And then I get married to Ricky, who played pro soccer too. And I did Osborne Lewis, but a lot of the time I still go by Osborne because people know me as Leslie Osborne. Right. And you're also like retiring. And so I was a soccer player for so long and my identity for so long, or for what people thought it was just revolved around soccer. Yeah. So there's that two prong. And for you too, like you've now been retired for what, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you're still going through that identity shift too, from being an athlete to, doing all the other hats you're wearing. And that's also
for sure
another part of that,
We've all put a lot of equity. And when people are like, well, equity, well, we all put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that name. And it means something to us. Like Brie Bella I know who that young girl was who walked in the ring with so much innocence. And I know the woman that came out of the ring, Brie Bella. And I'm like, and it felt like that was taken, but I had to work on it and be like, well, okay, the name was taken, but I can keep the equity of it. But it's still hard. When people hear Brie Bella compared to Brie Garcia, they think differently. Yeah. So
I just got goosebumps when you were saying that, by the way, like walking in as a young girl and then walking out like a mom closing a chapter. Right. Yeah. Like, shit, that is, you're incredible. You are incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that means so much.
Brie.
So fun. I want to like go hang out with her.
Did you ever watch that show?
No.
I did.
Oh.
Like I remember watching it and being like, do I like the WWE? Like that's what they did.
I think her and her sister make you want to like the
100%. Like a 21-year-old girl like in college just has no real reason to like the WWE, but because of those girls,
the Bella Twins.
Yeah. Like that's
badass.
So cool.
Her world, the WWE world, is so foreign to me. I didn't watch it. I don't quite understand it. So it's so fascinating to me, and just hearing her stories, how she trained, her approach, and then having kids and coming back to the rink and feeling like she had to literally fit into her persona costume of being Bella. Like that's so interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that she definitely, some of the stories that she told was like super mom vibes of like, just do it type of.
Super mom, but also so relatable.
So relatable.
She's just like so down to earth too, and beautiful and confident and funny and all the things. So
I can't wait to go to the winery. We have to go.
Yes. And bring her to a Bay FC game.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like we're going to see her in the future here for sure. Welcome to the Weekly Flex, presented by our Leica brand.
Ooh, this is our time every week to show our flex.
To talk about our muscles.
Yeah.
Big muscles, little muscles.
Yeah. Arielle?
Weekly Flex.
What's yours?
Okay.
You got a good one.
Yes, I got a good one.
I can tell.
So I'm an influencer now.
I know. I call you an influencer.
Yeah, I'm an influencer.
Do you like that name,
no,
by the way?
It's a joke. It's like a joke. Whenever I call myself an influencer, I'm like, that's an actual bit.
Let's not call that anymore.
No,
let's just say you're Arielle.
But I'm like online, very online.
Very online.
I'm very online. Okay. So the flex is though, I did like my first like bigger deal.
Yeah.
Like I've been getting reached out to by a lot of brands and I have said no to almost everybody. Just like don't want to fill my whole feed with whatever. So I did a bigger deal with a company and the video got like 15 million views on
That's
TikTok,
a lot of views.
which was like major good numbers. So I felt really good about it and felt like I did a good job with it. Felt like I stayed true to my brand with it and like who I am. It wasn't too like but like it was funny. And so I felt like they really gave me room to like be funny and like
be who you are,
be who I am and make like a joke a little bit and like joke around about it. And I love that the brands that I'm working with are like letting me do that. I've had some brands that I've started to work with that haven't let me do that. And it's been like,
not working with
back
them.
and forth on like all these edits and like stuff of like, we want it to be more authentic. And I'm like, I am authentic. I promise you. Like, I'm not trying to be shellac in the way that I'm doing things. So like the more room that I've been given to fly,
to be you,
the better the videos have done.
I'm doing a deal right now. I've been working with them for the last year, Pottery Barn Kids, and they are the best.
Yeah.
And they allow me to be who I am, be my children be. And it's just like the best organic.
It's really nice to work with companies that are like letting you do your thing.
Yeah, it's so fun. But I loved your brand that you worked with allowed you to work with your kids too and give them NIL deals. Yeah. And that's so cool.
So I've been, to like fill everybody in, I've been pitching brands and companies on doing deals with me, which they want to do because of my following now. And I've also been kind of offering, depending on the company, offering deals for my kids on my team. Yeah. And I will pay my kids to like, and they'll give me a draft of it and I'll work with them on the draft of it and try and kind of give them a little bit of like work with it. And then the company isn't dealing with them doing it. It's like an interesting way of doing NIL. So I've been kind of trying to navigate that space a little bit. Yeah. It's been fun.
It's been cool to watch.
Yeah.
Well, my weekly flex is very different.
Yes.
My weekly flex is the Lewis household getting a dog. We rescued Gunner, and my good friend Mandy knew that we were looking to get another dog. It has been 5 years since we lost our golden retriever.
Yep.
And she rescued this dog. She took Gunner into her house for a week to make sure that he was really good with kids. Mm-hmm. And she literally dropped this dog off as we were coming home from a big soccer tournament when my husband was on E and was like, here you go.
Yeah, here's a puppy to watch for a little bit.
Yeah, it
was a foster puppy.
It was.
Start.
We fostered him for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I was like, you're getting this dog.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point was to like get a boy dog for Ricky because he needs some boys in this house. We let Ricky name him Gunner, favorite team Arsenal. So for all of you that know that. So it was kind of like a little bit of a strategic plan. But honestly, after 2 weeks, I was like, babe, if this isn't going to work, I'm not going to force it because I knew if something went wrong, he would look back and be like, see?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
like what?
So he is an amazing dog. It's been super fun. We sent him away for a couple weeks to get proper training because that's not something I wanted to take on right now.
Yep.
But the girls absolutely love him. Yeah. He walks with us to school. He drops them off. He picks them up. Everyone at the school loves Gunner. They play with him. He literally freaked out this morning when we couldn't walk him to school because he's just, that's what he does. So it's been really fun.
He's so sweet.
He's so sweet.
He's a sweet
He's
dog.
just a lover.
Yeah.
He's loyal.
Yeah.
He's a herder. So he just wants to protect us. So I think it's been really fun, but it's also a lot of responsibility for all of our dog owners and lovers out there. And I think that I've welcomed my 4th child into the house. Yeah. And it's brought the love in our house even more to another level, which has been really fun for us. So, Gunner's part of our household and I'm so happy.
How old is Gunner?
We think 7 months.
Okay.
But he already weighs like 75 pounds and he looks like a full grown dog. He's huge.
Yeah.
He might be like 130 pounds, but he's a lover and it's going to be a fun road ahead of us. So that's my flex.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Puppy Central. My kids love Gunner.
I know. And my kids love Jackson. We've got cute dogs. Mm-hmm. I love our flexes. Very different, but I love our weekly flex.
Yeah. A little life update.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for following Redefined.
Yep.
Wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Like us, follow us on Instagram, Leslie Osborne 12.
Comment only nice things.
Yeah.
Mean things, don't comment those. Please. We didn't ask.
Yeah.
We just asked for nice things. Only compliment us, please.
Only positivity around here. Okay. Can't wait for the next episode. See you.
Bye.